भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम
ओम नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम
ओम नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं
नारायणं
नमस्कृत्य
नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं
चैवानरोत्तमं
सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं
देवीं
सरस्वतीं
सरस्वतीं
व्यासं
भाष्यं
जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो
ततो जयं
जयमुदीरयेत्।
धीरयेत्।
सुतां स्वगतः कृष्ण
श्रीमतां स्वतः कृष्ण
तं कृष्ण
कीर्तना
कीर्तनः
विधियन्तस्तो हि भद्राणि
हृदयन्तस्थो
हृदयन्तोस्तो
भद्राणि
भद्राणि
ते सुहृत्सताम्
विधनोति
विनोति
सुखताम्।
सुखताम्।
अष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु
नमस्तप्रायेषु
अष्टप्रभुत्वेषु
भद्रेषु
यं भागवतसेवया
किं
नित्यं भागवत
भागवतसेवया
सेवया
भगवते उत्तमश्लोके
भगवते
भगवते
श्लोके
श्लोके
ते भवति नैष्टिके।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टके।
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
कृष्णाय
कृष्णाय
वासुदेवाय
वासुदेवाय
देवकीनन्दनाय च
देवकी नन्दनाय
देवकीनन्दनाय च
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
गोविन्दाय नमः।
गोविन्दाय
गोविन्दाय नमो
नमः।
नमः।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you for joining. We had a few weeks of gap. Now we are resuming. So this Puruṣa-sūkta confirms. So how Lord is the root or the material as well as efficient cause of creation is described here by Lord Brahma to who is he speaking to in this whole conversation? It's a conversation between Narada and Brahmaji. Yeah, because Narada Muni asks him how all this creation came into existence. Are you the one who is doing all of this? Now Brahmaji says, no, it's not me. It is the Supreme Lord who actually does the creation. There should not be any confusion about it. And he manifests everything, all the ingredients for the existence and the sub-variations of it, tanmatras or the senses, sense objects. Everything is created by Lord himself. In detail, it is explained in these verses 1 to 17. So after explaining in depth about how all the things in material existence manifest, one may wonder, this is something that Lord is extremely busy doing. So to clarify that, Lord Brahma says, no, this is not the main activity Lord is interested in. This is, in fact, he does not even directly engage in doing this. He deputes his secondary energies, secondary incarnations to perform this. And so at that time, Brahmaji introduces about spiritual world. So until now, it is all material world, the descriptions and various categories and creation process. It's all about the material existence. So after this, Brahmaji explains about the Tripada Vibhuti, where the 3/4 of the energy of the Lord exists, which is the spiritual world. Yakapada is the material existence. Material existence with all its variety and large scale is still one Ekpada, is 1/4. So the spiritual world is 3/4. So now he explains the characteristics and the differences between spiritual world and material world. So that is the topic for today. So this one. So you see my screen, Word document.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Let's read these verses. Sa amritasya sa abhayasya so
So Amritasya
Tasya avayasyeso
yam annam yadachagad
matyam
Matyam annam yat atyakat
mahimai sa tato brahman
mahimais
mahimasta tato
brahma
brahma
rushasya durachaya.
Puruṣasya
purusya
durtyaya
durya
Please read.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is control of immortality and fearlessness, and he is a transcendental to death and the fruitive actions of the material world. O Narada, O Brahmana, it is therefore difficult to measure the glories of the Supreme Person.
So the Supreme Lord, he is the controller of immortality. If somebody wants to achieve or want to go beyond the material existence, immortality and fearlessness. So the mortality and fear are the characteristics of material existence. In the material world, everybody is afraid of death and they are always fearful and anxiety. So if you want to overcome them, you have to go to the controller of both. So that is the Supreme Lord. And he is transcendental to death and the fruitive actions of the material world. So even though Lord performs various activities, they will never incur karma because he is the. So why Lord does not get entangled in the karmic reactions when he is in this world? For example, he was stealing butter or stealing the dress of gopis, or sometimes he even said to cause the great world war between Kurus and Pandavas. He never incurs any sin. Why? Anybody want to answer? Why Lord is beyond any reactions for his actions?
He is the controller of all three material modes, right? Nature of material.
Yeah, very close. Yeah. Anybody else want to add? Or
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my obeisance. Prabhuji, so Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna. All these modes and Maya and everything is coming from him only. He's beyond from all this. He's always transcendental. Even though he's coming to this material world as Rama, Krishna, he's transcendental always. Prabhuji.
correct. Yeah. So the reactions are based off actions within the material existence under the purview of material modes. So if Lord is never subjugated to the three modes. In fact, he is the controller of the modes. And the fruitive reactions are because of actions within the modes. Yeah. So because he is transcendental and beyond the modes, he will never incur any reactions. O Narada, O Brahmana, it is therefore difficult to measure the glories of the Supreme Person. Yeah. Continue, Prabhu.
The glories of Lord in the transcendental 75% of the Lord's internal potency are stated in the Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda. It is said that those planets in the spiritual sky which comprises of the 75% expansions of the internal potency of the Lord are far, far greater than those planets in the total universe composed of the external potency of the Lord. In one of the universe in which we are now living, the number of planets cannot be counted by human energy. And so how can we think about the sum total of the universe, which are compared to the bucketful of the mustard seeds? And the planets in the spiritual sky are the least 3 times the number of those in the material sky. Such a planets, being spiritual, are in fact transcendental to the material modes. Therefore, they are constituted in the mode of unalloyed goodness only.
So the Prabhupada is describing here the nature of the spiritual world. Why is the spiritual world 3 times of material world? Logically speaking, why such a thing ratio existed? Why not say material world 3 times, spiritual world 1/4?
The number of souls probably that committed sin, those would be lesser as compared to like in a city and the prison. So it should be a smaller, and the
Yeah.
spiritual world must be bigger.
Yeah, we are actually soul, and soul by nature, because we are soul, we belong to spiritual world originally. We all belong to spiritual world because we actually belong there. That is the maximum. And like you said, the example, yeah, the citizens are supposed to live in city. Though there is a jail in the city which is meant for those who commit sin, but citizens are supposed to be in the city. Souls are supposed to be in the spiritual world. So everybody is expected to be actually in the spiritual world all the time. But sometimes they are in the material world. That's why that to capture them temporarily, there is a place. And because it's a temporary place, it is much smaller in size. Yeah. Yeah. Even the middle world is unlimited. Within one universe itself, we don't know how many planets exist. And now imagine how many planets in the whole middle existence will be. And on top of it, if you add spiritual worlds, the creation is so extensive. Yeah.
As described in the Vedas, Uttaram, sorry, Prabhuji, what I couldn't just say that.
Utamritatma Sheshana.
Okay. The Supreme Lord is the Lord of the immortality, or in the other words, the Lord is immortal, and because he is the Lord of immortality, he can award immortality to his devotee. In Bhagavad Gita 8.16, the Lord also assures that whoever may go to his abode of immortality shall never return to the mortal land of three false miseries. The Lord is not like the mundane Lord. The mundane masters of the Lord never enjoys equally with his subordinates, nor is a mundane Lord immortal, nor can he award immortality to his subordinates. The Supreme Lord, who is the leader of all living entities, can award all the qualities of his personality unto his devotees, including immortality and spiritual bliss. In the material world, there is always anxiety and fearfulness in the hearts of all living entities. But the Lord, being himself the supreme fearless, also awards the same quality of fearlessness to his pure devotees. Mundane existence is itself a kind of fear because in all mundane bodies, the effect of birth, death, old age, and disease always keeps a living being compact in fear. In the mundane world, there is always the influence of time, which changes things from one stage to another, and the living entity, originally being avikara or unchangeable, suffers a great deal on the account of the changes due to the influence of time.
Yeah. So it's the difference between mundane world and spiritual world is described here. So Lord is immortal. Lord is immortal because he is the Lord of immortality. He can award immortality to his devotees. Only the Supreme Lord can do that. Nobody else can do that. Sa amritasyaya kalpate. So that is the Bhagavad Gita verse. Yeah. So one who achieves the spiritual world will never go through threefold miseries because there is nothing like that in the middle in the spiritual world. Yeah. So Lord can award. So it's all. So further characteristics. So these 4 verses are going to differentiate between what the characteristics of material world and spiritual world. So further description here. Padeshu sarva bhutani
Padeshu sarvabhutani
shahastiti padopitu
pumsastiti
Sattva-pado-vidu.
Vritam kshemam avayam
Nrutam
Amritam
Kshemam
Kesham Abhayam.
Murdhno jyai murdhashu.
Trimurtano Jayamurta.
Yeah, please read.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be known as the supreme reservoir of all material opulences by the 1/4 of his energy, in which all the living entities exist. Deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from the anxieties of old age and disease exist in the kingdom of God, which is beyond the 3. I can't say that, Prabhu. Yeah, 3 higher planetary systems and beyond the material coverings.
So if one want to get freedom from all this, he has to go beyond the existence, beyond the 3 higher planetary systems and beyond the metal coverings. We all know about this. Yeah, please read.
One of the total manifestations of the Sandhini energy of the Lord, 1/4 is displayed in the material world, and the 3/4 are displayed in the spiritual world. The Lord's energy is divided into 3 component parts, namely Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini. In other words, He is the full manifestation of existence, knowledge, and bliss. In the material world, such a sense of existence, knowledge, and pleasure is meagerly exhibited, and all living entities who are minute part and parcels of the Lord are eligible to relish such consciousness of existence, knowledge, and bliss very minutely in the liberated stage. Whereas in the conditioned stage of material existence, they can hardly appreciate what is the factual existential, uh, cognizable, and pure happiness of life.
So Lord has 3 potencies: Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini. What is Sandhini? Anybody remembers? Existence. Existence means Lord has the potency to create on which everything else exists, right? So he through his potency he created all the existence, which includes both material and spiritual realms. The material realms is 1/4, and the spiritual realms is the 3/4. Samvit is knowledge. This is existence. Samvit is knowledge. He is the source of all knowledge. Hladini is pleasure potency. Hladini, is the internal potency of the Lord, which is represented by Radharani, Srimad Radharani. Yeah. So he is the full manifestation of existence, knowledge, and bliss. In the middle world, is such a sense of existence, knowledge is meagerly exhibited. Yeah, and all living entities who are minute parts and parcels of Lord are eligible to release such consciousness of existence. We're all eligible to do that, but we are not experiencing that right now because we are still not completely purified. But when we are purified, we can experience in the material world itself.
Yeah. In the material world, the planetary systems are arranged in 3 spheres called Triloka or Swarga, Martya, and Patala, and all of them constitute only 1/4 of the total Sandhini energy. Beyond that is the spiritual sky, where the Vaikuntha planets exist beyond the coverings of 7 material strata.
So this is we heard about this, right, already. So spiritual planets exist beyond the material existence. Any questions on this so far? Padastrayo bahishchasan
Padastrayo Chapsan
aprajanam ya ashrama
Aprajanam Ya Ashram
antastri lokyastvaparo
Attasti
Paro
Brihamedho Brihatvrita.
Brahamedo
Brahadvata.
Brahadvrata.
Yeah. Please read.
The spiritual world, which consists of 3/4 of the Lord's energy, is situated beyond this material world, and it is especially meant for those who will never be reborn. Others who are attached to the family life and who do not strictly follow celibacy vows must live within the 3 material worlds.
Yeah. Again, the spiritual world exists beyond the material world, and it is meant for those who are liberated and will not be reborn. And the main people who are going to stay in the material realm, the 1/4 Marchaloka, is people who are attached to family life. And that is two characteristics are given: attached to family life and do not strictly follow celibacy vows. So these two are the, so by the, before we end our life, we should basically achieve these things. That's how we should be attracted to Krishna so much that these things do not bother us as much. We should see our family as being part of Krishna's, like see them as Krishna's children, right? More than our children or more than our husband, wife, like that. See them in connection with Krishna. That is this. And strictly follow celibacy, even whether we are brahmachari or grahastha, whoever it is, doesn't matter. So we have to, so because without following celibacy, it is that we still have strong desire to enjoy in the material world. So that is the problem with not following celibacy. So it's a very important to get rid of the, or follow the celibacy vow. So without that, we cannot get out of this material existence. And that happens when we develop, deep love for Lord. When we have, so much love, all these smaller things will not matter as much, right? Please read.
The climax of the system of Varnashrama Dharma or Sanatan Dharma is clearly expressed here in this particular verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. The highest benefit that can be awarded to a human being is to train him to be detached from the sex life, particularly because it is only due to sex indulgence that the conditioned life of material existence continues birth after birth. Human civilization in which there is no control of sex life is a fourth-class civilization because in such an atmosphere there is no liberation of the soul engaged in the material body.
Yeah. So one cannot expect to be liberated if he's, doesn't control his sex life.
Any form of religious principles in which the followers are trained to pursue the vow of celibacy is good for the human being, because only those who are trained in that way can end the miserable life of material existence. The principles of nirvana, as recommended by Lord Buddha, are also meant for ending the miserable life of material existence. And this process in the highest degree is recommended.
It's interesting. Prabhupada is saying even other paths of impersonalism or even Sunyavada, right? Sunyavada is Lord Buddha's teaching. And then and Mayavada, not Mayavada, Mayavada is bad. Brahmavadis, which is taught by Adi Shankaracharya, even they are going to help one to get out of the entanglement of material existence. Right? So what is the difference between them and us if they also help you achieve liberation? Anyone want to answer? So Prabhupada is here saying, even if one follows Lord Buddha, he will achieve nirvana or freedom from material existence. Right? So why not follow them instead of following Krishna consciousness? Why it is any different or any better than following what Lord Buddha is teaching, nirvana? Who want to answer?
Prabhuji, nirvana is again having a desire for mukti, right? Liberation. And I believe that's not what devotees look forward to, is serving the Lord. Yeah.
Point. Anything else?
Guruji, like nirvana would be like getting above the three modes of material nature, but it doesn't satisfy soul's need to serve.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Any further details? That's the answer, but
Nirvana is about meditating on nothing. Basically, there is no object of worship, but in Krishna consciousness, we have Krishna. We are the eternal servitor of the Lord. So we have Krishna to meditate upon. So that's
correct. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji, please accept me. Prabhuji, we are soul. We are created for the for enjoyment. We are there to give pleasure to Krishna. So that is our soul nature. So soul cannot. Soul has that worshipping tendency. That kind. We want to worship. Otherwise we can't sustain.
Yeah.
So soul is there to serve Krishna. Soul is there to please Krishna and Krishna's devotees, Krishna's desires. So soul cannot, even though it's go to Brahma Jyoti, cannot stay there. It will fall down definitely, because that's not soul nature. So that's
Yeah, that's perfect answer. Yeah. So soul's nature is to serve, right? Jivera Swarupahai, Krishnera Nityadas, servant. That's it's wide in nature. You cannot remove that. And by going to, by getting nirvana or, or going to Brahma Jyoti, the soul will not be satisfied. So it needs engagement in service to the Supreme Absolute. That is the only place where it is fully satisfied. So even if it goes to the highest, materialistic liberation, still it's not fully satisfied. So for that reason, it will have to come back, and that is the reason all these altruists or the people who want to serve in various capacities, they all come down after achieving liberation, after many lifetimes, because the soul is not satisfied. Yeah. So the Buddha.
I'm remembering one point, Prabhu, sorry. So child cannot stay without mother. So like that, soul cannot be happy anywhere without Krishna.
Yeah.
So I remember that. I heard something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So it is like, if a person is deceased, if somebody is sick in a hospital, there are two progressions for him. First is the disease need to be removed. For that, he has to take medicines. So either in Krishna consciousness or through nirvana or some other methods of meditation, first step is to clear the disease. That is like coming to zero state. He is negative, Now he came to zero. So liberation is a zero state. But if you suppose you went to hospital and you were admitted for a health problem, and you were there for a few days and you just recovered. Just being recovered from the disease is not a happy condition. You want to come and play with your children, come and serve your husband or serve your wife, talk to your father, mother. That's when you are really happy in loving relation with your family members. So the positive aspect is missing in that. So negative aspect is removed, but the positive aspect is missing. So that is the difference between other paths in Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness focuses on where you want to get to, right? So that is the difference between other paths, impersonalism and personalism. Impersonalism focuses on where you want to get out from. Their focus is only, oh, I'm in the middle world, I have to get out of it. I am now entangled, I have to get out of it. The focus is on where they are right now. But for devotees, the focus is in where they want to get to, the destination. For the non-devotees, the focus is on where they are today. Okay, they want to get out of that place. Is that making sense? For devotees, they want to engage in loving service with Krishna. So the focus is on the spiritual world. Does it make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
The focus is different. Yeah. Please read.
The householders and persons who have deliberately broken the vow of celibacy cannot enter into the kingdom of deathlessness. The pious householders or the fallen yogis or the fallen transcendentalists can be promoted to the higher planets within the material world, 1/4 of the energy of the Lord, but they will fail to enter into the kingdom of deathlessness. Abhratas are those who have broken the vow of celibacy. The vanaprasthas or those retired from the family life, and the sannyasis or the renounced persons cannot break the vow of celibacy if they want success in the process.
Yeah, so Prabhupada again and again emphasizing the same point that we should follow celibacy. So otherwise there is no remedy to get out of the material existence. Please read.
Lord Chaitanya was very strict in advising his followers in this matter of celibacy. One of his personal attendants, Chota Haridas, was severely punished by Lord Chaitanya because of his failure to observe the vow of celibacy. For a transcendentalist, therefore, who at all wants to be promoted to the kingdom beyond material mysteries, it is worse than suicide to deliberately indulge in sex life, especially in the renounced order of life. Sex life is, in the renounced order of life, is the most perverted form of religious life, and such a misguided person can only be saved if, by chance, he meets a pure devotee.
Yeah. So there was the story of Chota Haridas Thakur. Lord Chaitanya was very strict about this. And by the way, he didn't commit any real sin. He just had a conversation with a lady. That's it. Lord was very strict about it. Shruti vichakrame viswan
Shruti
Vichakrame
Vishwa
sasanana sane ubhe
Asana sane ube
yad avidya cha vidya cha
Yad
Yadavidya
avidya cha vidya cha
Puruṣastu tu bhayasraya.
Puruṣa-sūkta
Puruṣa-sūkta
Shreya Shreya.
Prayas Praya. By his energies, the all-pervading personality of Godhead is thus comprehensively the master in the activities of controlling and the devotional service. He is the ultimate master of both omniscience and factual knowledge of all situations.
The Lord is the master of everything. Yeah, he's the ultimate master of both science, vidya, and avidya. Avidya and vidya. So why the jiva commits sinful actions in the material world? Because of avidya, the covering potency of the material Lord that covers the jiva. Yeah, please read.
The word Viswan is significant in this verse. One who travels perfectly in every field of activity is called the Purusha or
Kshetrajna.
Kshetrajna. These two terms, how do you pronounce?
Kshetrajna.
Kshetrajna and Purushas are equally applicable to both the individual self and the supreme self, the Lord.
You can read from here.
Yeah. Kshetra means the place, and one who knows the place is called the Kshetrajna. The individual self knows about his limited field of activities. But the Supreme Self, the Lord, knows about the unlimited field of activities. The individual soul knows about his own thinking, feeling, and willing activities. But the Super Soul or the Paramatma, the Supreme Controller being present everywhere, knows everyone's thinking, feeling, and willing activities. And as such, the individual living entity is the minute master of his personal affairs, whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of everyone's affairs, past, present, and future. Vedam, Samattani, etc. Only the ignorant person doesn't know this difference between the Lord and the living entities. The living entities, as distinguished from the incognizant matter, may be qualitatively equal to the Lord in cognizance, but the living entity can never be equal to the Lord in full knowledge of past, present, and future. And because the living entity is partially cognizant, he is therefore sometimes forgetful of his own identity. This forgetfulness is specially manifested in the field of the Ekpath Vibhati of the Lord, or in the material world, but in the Tripad Vibhuti field of actions, or in the spiritual world, there is no forgetfulness by the living entities who are free from all kinds of contaminations resulting from the forgetful state of existence.
Because the jiva is limited, sometimes he may forget his relation with Krishna, and that led to his material existence in Ekpad Vibhuti. But in the spiritual world, nobody ever forgets the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So only the ignorant person does not know this difference between Lord and living entities. Yeah. The jiva will never be equal to the Supreme Lord. Yeah, please read.
The idea of moksha or liberation held by the monist in the matter of oneness of the living entity and the Lord by ultimate merging in one is also the last stage of materialism or forgetfulness. Knowledge of the qualitative oneness of the self and super self is partial knowledge and ignorance also because there is no knowledge of quantitative difference as explained above. The individual self can never be equal to the Lord cognizance. Otherwise, he could not be placed in state of forgetfulness. So, because there is a stage of forgetfulness of the individual selves or the living entities, there is always a gulf of difference between the Lord and the living entity as between the part of the whole.
So again, the differences between individual jiva and Lord are explained here. Yeah.
In the field of nescience, activities are directed toward lording it over the creation. In the material world, therefore, everyone is engaged in acquiring material opulence to lord it over the material world. Therefore, there is always clash and frustration, which are the symptoms of nescience. But in the field of knowledge, there is devotional service of the Lord Bhakti. Therefore, there is no chance of being contaminated by the influence of nescience or forgetfulness, avidya, in the liberated stage of devotional activities.
So there is never forgetfulness in the spiritual world. So those are the differences between material world and spiritual world. So here you can see the various differences that are discussed in the 4 verses summary here. So birth and death cycle, does it exist in Ekpad Vibhuti? You can answer, each of you can say yes or no. Ekpad means, what is Ekpad here? The material existence. Tripada is the spiritual existence or the spiritual realms, right? All the various universes within the material existence, all the various universes in the spiritual existence. So various qualities described are summarized here, so we can just go over so that we remember all the things discussed here. Birth and death cycle exists in Ekpada or not? Yes.
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 In Tripada,
Yes,
No.
so the jivas are eternal. They are eternally engaged in the service of Lord here in Tripada. Yeah. People who stay there in the Ekpada, the middle existence, are those who are, enjoy their senses. It was mentioned in last 2 verses. Grahamedis or Abrahat Vratas, who do not follow any rules. Yeah. And the Tripada is Prajanam. Lord's inclination. Is Lord excited about material existence? There is so much process described here. Lord is not even directly involved in the creation. He engages one of his sub incarnation, right? 2nd level, 3rd level incarnation to Puruṣa-avataras to engage in the creation of the material existence. So he's not very inclined for the Ekpath. For Tripada, the spiritual realm, even for small activities, Lord is actively engaged. For example, sometimes Lord is engaged in carrying gopas on his back. Directly, he's serving them. Or sometimes he would carry the shoes of Nanda Maharaj on his head. But as far as material existence is concerned, he does not, think so great about creating various universes. So he deputes that to his subordinates, or the next level creations. So he's not inclined. Nature of the souls. In the material existence, the nature of the soul is to, dominate. They want to get the better of material nature. In the Tripad or the spiritual existence, nature of the soul is eternal service to Lord, right? Devotion service. Fear. Is there fear in the material world? Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. That is the principle that drives fear and greed. In Tripad, no. Forgetfulness is there in the Ekpad, right? Because of avidya. And in Tripada, it's not present because of vidya. Because everybody is fully aware of position of Krishna and their own position as the eternal servant. Souls, this is Ekpad is less in number, Tripad is innumerable. Sandhini manifestation. Yeah, the existence. In terms of existence, Ekpad is only 1/4, Tripad is 3/4. Sachidananda experience, In Ekpad, Vibhuti is experienced very little, very rare. Most people never experience. In Tripada, everybody experiences. Every single jiva experiences all the time. So that is the differences between the two. Any questions? This is all very straightforward. We all know. So there is no surprise here, I guess, right? The section is over. We'll start the next one. We have only 7-8 minutes. Any questions? Anybody? How did you all like the Chaitanya Prabhu's classes?
Guruji, just one question on this today's verses, right? So it is given 1/4 is like material world, 3/4 is Tripada or spiritual world. Isn't it like it is like an unlimited and that it's hard to measure it or hard to compare it?
Yeah, it's not, it's just, yeah, both are kind of unlimited. There is no limit, because if it is limited, then. So if I ask you how many whole numbers are there? Infinite, right?
Infinite, yeah.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 100,000, million. Okay, how many, if I ask you how many even numbers are there in the whole numbers? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
Again, infinite.
Again, infinite. But are the number of whole numbers more or even numbers more?
Difficult to compare. It's infinite again.
Both are infinite, but you can definitely say, yeah, whole numbers are double of infinite number, the even numbers, correct?
Mm.
Yeah. So it's something like that, just for our understanding. It's not a perfect example. Yeah.
There is something to understand, like, the ratio perspective, but there is no completely, we can say this much. It's like infinite.
Yeah.
Just for understanding perspective.
In proportionate degree, you can say it is 4 times of material existence.
Mm. Okay.
Both are far beyond comprehension.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Prabhuji.
A very good question. Any other question? Any other discussion? Okay, I think we are good for today. We'll end it. I'm ending a little early today. I need to rest. I was a little tired. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol Prabhu.